It is 4:12 a.m. on the 22nd of November 2025. Over the dark Caribbean, everything suddenly explodes into chaos. A giant gray shape drops through the sky, shaking so hard that every light on the panel flashes red. It is Atlas 72, a C-5M supergalaxy, and tonight it is fighting for its life. Inside the cockpit, the crew grips the controls with both hands as alarms scream without stopping. Engine 1 is burning, Engine 4 is losing pressure. The whole aircraft keeps leaning left like it wants to fall apart. Then the radio call cuts through the noise. Mayday, Mayday, massive hydraulic failure, 3 engines affected. We need an immediate landing. Critical cargo on board. On a remote Caribbean runway, crews jump out of their bunks and run. Fire trucks roll with foam loaded. Medics wait in the dark. The runway lights stay off until the very last second so no one else can track the landing. And while the C-5M drops fast, Venezuelan radar operators watch the huge heat signature falling from 11,500 meters to almost 1,000 in minutes, with no civilian distress call at all. No one knows what the plane is carrying. No one knows why 2 F-35 seconds are shadowing it. All they know is this: the next few minutes may change the entire region. When a C-5M supergalaxy goes down, it is never just a mechanical issue. This aircraft is one of the most important machines the US Air Force operates. It carries tanks, helicopters, special operations teams, and gear that cannot fall into the wrong hands. So, when Atlas 72 dropped out of the sky that morning, everyone from Miami to Caracas understood something serious was in motion. The Caribbean is a tight and crowded region filled with radar sites, patrol ships, and political pressure. Venezuela watches the area around the clock. Every unknown flight path gets flagged. That is why the sudden appearance of a huge US aircraft with no standard distress call hit their system like a shock. To them, it did not look like an accident. It looked like a mission with a purpose. Inside the C-5M, the reality was even harsher. A hydraulic failure across 3 engines means losing most control of a plane that weighs hundreds of thousands of pounds. The pilot had to fight the controls with full strength just to keep the nose level. One wrong move, and the aircraft could roll, stall, and break apart before anyone reached it. If Atlas 72 carried sensitive equipment or priority personnel, the US needed to land it fast and secure whatever was inside. That explains the 2 F-35 seconds. They were not there to fight. They were there to make sure nothing interrupted the emergency landing. Meanwhile, Venezuelan officers stared at warning lights and unstable radar tracks. A massive US aircraft was diving toward a monitored zone. If they reacted too slowly or too fast, the situation could explode into an international crisis. For a few minutes, the tension was not just military. It was a test of judgment and nerve on both sides. When a supergalaxy falls from the sky, the world watches. And this time, both nations knew something bigger than a simple failure was happening inside Atlas 72. And before we move on, tell me what you think pushed the tension higher. Press 1 if you believe the US acted out of pure urgency. Press 9 if you think Venezuela saw this as a direct challenge. The first alert hits a Venezuelan radar site at 4:18 a.m. A large heat signal drops fast with a long line of smoke behind it. At first, the operator thinks it is a damaged civilian jet, but when he zooms in, he sees the shape clearly: a C-5M supergalaxy, huge and unstable, falling at a speed that should not be possible. The supervisor steps forward and says the only thing that fits the moment: track it. All stations confirm now. A second radar confirms it. Same descent, same silence, still no civilian distress code. The room goes tense. A foreign military aircraft this size does not appear this close without a reason. Something is wrong, and they know it. Inside Atlas 72, the cockpit shakes non-stop. The pilot keeps both hands locked on the yoke, fighting a strong pull on the left side. The co-pilot calls out numbers. The flight engineer reports rising temperatures and failing pressure. Every few seconds, the aircraft jerks like the cargo inside has shifted. They do not know how much longer they can keep control. Far above, 2 F-35 seconds shadow the plane. They keep distance but match every move. No open radio calls. Their presence alone shows how serious the situation is. At 4:21 a.m., the US base receives another call. Losing control. Moving to final approach. Keep the strip dark. Ground crews rush into position. Fire trucks roll out with foam ready. Medics kneel beside stretchers. The runway stays dark to avoid outside detection. Inside Venezuela, officers watch the track shift in a controlled but desperate path. Commanders prepare S-300VM and book crews but hold fire. They wait for a clean picture. Instead, their screens flicker, targets split, and vanish. The operators know the pattern. Jamming. Strong and close. On the runway, the C-5M finally drops low enough for the crew to see the strip. The landing gear lowers with a loud groan. The aircraft leans again, and the pilot pulls back as hard as he can. The Galaxy slams into the ground, bounces once, then again. Sparks fly. Smoke pours from the brakes as the aircraft slides toward the end of the strip and finally stops. For a moment, everything is frozen. The ground crew stares. Venezuelan operators stare. Even the fighters hold their line. Atlas 72 is down. The moment Atlas 72 stops at the end of the runway, urgency takes over. Fire crews push foam under the smoking landing gear, while medics rush up the ramp with stretchers. Armored trucks close off the strip as the giant aircraft shakes from the brutal landing. No one knows how long the systems will hold. Far away, Venezuela's air defense centers feel the impact. Radar screens flicker, targets split, and the picture keeps failing. Operators switch modes and reboot consoles, but the interference grows. The jamming is strong and close, covering several radar sites at once. Commanders understand the message. The US is protecting whatever just landed. S-300VM and buck crews stay ready. Helicopters prepare in Barcelona and Turiamo. Patrol boats report the same electronic noise. The entire network feels the pressure of one emergency landing, and every decision becomes a risk. A wrong move here could spark something neither side can stop. Inside the C-5M, loadmasters work with flashlights as armored vehicles protect the ramp. They unload sealed containers fast, sliding them into waiting trucks. A medical module follows, surrounded by security. The speed and silence show this operation is more than a mechanical failure. Something sensitive is being moved. Above the strip, two F-35 hold a tight pattern. They shift positions to keep a clear shield over the landing area, sending a simple message: do not interfere. Venezuelan operators try to track them, but keep losing the signal as the jamming grows heavier. For a brief moment, one radar site recovers enough to see a single F-35 circling. The room falls quiet. Fighters staying overhead means the mission is not done. Commanders debate scrambling aircraft, but the unstable radar picture makes any move dangerous. On the ground, medics load two stretchers into a helicopter while the rest of the containers are sealed in armored trucks. Engines shut down, leaving the strip almost silent. Atlas 72 is safe, but the tension around it keeps rising. Everyone knows the real turning point is coming. Before we move on, tell me what you think Venezuela should have done. Press 1 if you believe they should have launched fighters. Press 9 if holding back was the smarter call. As dawn rises over the Caribbean, the pattern breaks. For a moment, the jamming fades, and a Venezuelan radar catches a new echo near the same strip where Atlas 72 is parked. The return is small, steady, almost motionless. It is not a fighter, helicopter, or vehicle. It looks like something waiting. When the operator zooms in, alarms spike. A second heavy aircraft is preparing for takeoff. The commander leans in. Another C-5M. The room freezes. One emergency landing is unusual. Two in the same place, hours apart, feels coordinated. Something was taken out, and something else is now being moved in. On the runway, ground crews rush. The second C-5M powers up with a deep rumble. Armored trucks peel away from Atlas 72. Containers are checked and loaded with practiced precision, every motion suggesting a rehearsed plan. The Pavehawk keeps its rotors turning nearby. Inside Venezuela's command center, officers argue. Some believe the US is swapping damaged gear. Others fear they are extracting people or technology too sensitive to leave behind. With unstable radar, every theory seems possible. When the second C-5M begins its takeoff roll, tension spikes again. Operators watch its silhouette climb north, protected by the same F-35 pattern as before. Meanwhile, Atlas 7 II remains grounded, surrounded by medics and security. Its engines stay cold. Repairs are uncertain. But the second aircraft changes everything. This was not just an emergency landing. It was a planned recovery, set in motion long before Atlas 7 II touched down. And now the region faces an unspoken truth. The US didn't come here because of an accident. They came expecting a threat and ready to move something valuable before anyone else could. As the second C-5M fades north, tension spikes again. Atlas 72 stays grounded, ringed by security, medics, and engineers. The engines are cold, yet the air feels tight, as if everyone expects another shock. Jamming along the coastline doesn't fade, it shifts, hitting radar sites in rolling waves. To Venezuelan crews, it feels calculated, like someone is pushing their systems to the edge. Inside the C-5M, the crew shuts down damaged systems. Panels are warm, wires smell burnt, and lights glow faintly as engineers inspect. No one raises their voice. The aircraft survived a landing it was never meant to attempt. One mistake could trigger something worse. Above the field, the two F-35 seconds tighten their pattern, flying slower and lower, forming a shield over the runway. One scans the horizon while the other keeps watch on the coastline. They aren't preparing to strike, only to block anything that comes close. Inside Venezuela's command center, operators struggle for clean data. Locks on the fighters split or fade. Some argue for scrambling jets. Others warn any launch could be seen as hostile. One wrong move could drag both sides into something far bigger. On the ground, activity around Atlas 72 accelerates. A medical team moves 2 more cases toward a helicopter. Armored trucks reposition. Engineers complete their first inspection and signal the chief. The Galaxy may fly by evening, but the window is closing. Suddenly, runway lights flash once, just long enough for Venezuelan optics to catch movement, suggesting final prep. Jamming intensifies, cutting the view. Then the Pavehawk lifts with the last medical cases, escorted by F-35 seconds as crews clear the runway. Tension peaks. Atlas 72 must take off soon if the US wants this contained. Before we move on, tell me what you think the real goal was. Press 1 if the US was protecting high-value personnel, or 9 if it was about sensitive equipment. When dawn reaches the Caribbean, the tension hasn't eased. The second C-5M is far to the north. The Pavehawk is gone with its medical load, and Atlas 72 is the last aircraft on the ground. Engineers finish checks as crews clear the runway. The Galaxy survived a landing that should have destroyed it, and now it must climb back into the air with only partly stable systems. Inside Venezuela's command center, officers watch cautiously. The radar picture is shaky but clear enough to see Atlas 72 powering up. Jamming has weakened just enough to track heat rising from the engines. Some argue the US should explain. Others insist it's a recovery mission, not a violation. On the runway, the engines roar back to life. The pilot receives clearance and pushes the throttles forward. The Galaxy rolls, heavy but intact, shaking as it accelerates. Above the field, the F-35 seconds shift into escort positions. In Venezuelan control rooms, operators lean in as the heat signature brightens. Radar jumps, steadies, then shows the aircraft rising before interference wipes it out again. When the picture returns, Atlas 72 is gone, heading north under fighter escort. The strip is empty except for skid marks. By late morning, the political response comes. Venezuela claims an unauthorized US aircraft triggered defensive measures. Cuba and Nicaragua echo the message. The US keeps its explanation brief. A technical failure, an emergency landing, lives protected. The missing details? Fuel speculation. Analysts split. Some see a simple rescue. Others say the timing, escort pattern, and interference point to something deeper, an extraction too sensitive to leave behind. Soon, new patterns form. Venezuela launches coastal drills. U.S. aircraft increase patrols. Both sides adjust radar settings. The night Atlas 72 went down becomes a study in how fast balance can shift without a single shot fired. The message is clear. The Caribbean felt the weight of a silent, high-pressure mission, and the world noticed.